What do you do when your Airbnb guests arrive and the place is not cleaned up from the last guest that just left? Oh, I hate this situation, but we're going to talk about this today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, today's show is brought to us by turnovercleaningtips.com. That is a resource hub for Airbnb owners, vacation rental owners, property managers, and the house cleaners that do the turnover service for the Airbnbs and vacation rentals. Turnovercleaningtips.com. What do you do when guests arrive for your Airbnb and the turnover service has not been complete from the last people that just stayed here? All right, that's an interesting question. And the first thought goes to, oh no, my house cleaner is incredibly reliable. Something terrible must have happened to him or her. What has happened to my house cleaner? Then the second school of thought is, oh no, my guests have planned this amazing vacation and they've arrived and the place is not ready for them, so their vacation is starting off on the wrong foot. They're going to leave me a bad rating and review. So now you're balancing these two weird emotions, neither of which you have any control over. Okay, so the first thing that we want to find out is, where's my house cleaner? Are they okay? And the second thing is, how can I quickly pacify these guests so that they can go away for a few hours and then come back and their room will be ready? The first thing you want to do is just be honest. Say, oh no, something terrible must have happened to my house cleaner. I would like to find out, and then get your rooms ready. Why don't you guys head on down to the local pub and be gone and give them a new check-in time? Let's say that it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Your room should be ready by about 4 o'clock. Why don't you drop back by then and I'll have everything nice and ready for you? Now, this is not so far from what happens sometimes in hotels. We go to a hotel and they say, sorry, your room is not ready, but why don't you go sit down at the lounge or the bar and maybe they even give you a free drink. Hang out for a little bit and then we'll get your room ready and we'll let you know when it's ready. This is the same kind of thing. So you don't have to go into a big panic and, oh no, they're going to leave me a 1-star review. Maybe they won't, because they're human and they understand something may have happened to the house cleaner, right? Your house cleaner is very reliable under most circumstances. Something terrible must have happened. And so send them away gracefully. Don't make it a big thing and don't get all wigged out about it or whatever. Just, hey, this is horrible. Why don't you go down to the pub and maybe you offer them a gift card. Maybe you offer them, a $50 comp off their room or something like that. There are ways to soften the blow and just say, this is very unusual. I'm so sorry. Give me a little bit of time and I'll jump right on this and we'll get you all ready to rock and roll. And so if you make it okay, it's going to be okay for them. They might be a little bit inconvenienced, but under most circumstances, they will work with you and say, well, okay, right? I mean, if this happens to you at a hotel, what do? You say, well, okay, right? What are you going to do? There's nothing you can do. Okay, so then the next thing you want to do is you want to check with your house cleaner. What happened? Are you okay? Because you can't have unreliable people working for you. And what you might do is have like the Ring doorbell where you see people coming and people going. And so if you don't see the house cleaner coming, you can jump on the phone and say, hey, I haven't seen you check in yet. I saw the other guests leave about 2 hours ago. Is everything okay? We have new guests arriving in another 2 hours from now. And that way you can kind of keep a pulse on what's happening. Now, if you live in another city and the house cleaner is managing the property for you, what you may want to do is find a co-host in the area where your bed and breakfast is so that you can check in with the co-host and they can run over and just verify that the other guests have left, that the house cleaner has come in, and that everything is on schedule as it's supposed to be. So those are a couple of options, but it is really horrible when something happens to your house cleaner and they don't show up. So we don't want to overlook it, but we don't want to blow it out of proportion and make it this ginormous thing that it's not. People understand there are things that happen, and just be as cool about it as you possibly can. And if it is necessary to comp the room, then comp the room or give a discount or something like that. All right. How do you safeguard your business if you're the house cleaner and something bad happens to you? Let's just say, for example, that you had a heart attack one day while you're on the job, you were immediately hospitalized, and you were unable to access all of your client accounts, your Airbnb accounts, all of the different things and people that you manage in your business. What do you do? How do you keep your business afloat while you're out temporarily? All right, that's an excellent question. And one of the solutions that I recommend is a thing called Keeper. Keeper is a password storage unit where you can keep all of your passwords and all of your accounts. It's also a great place to keep all of your clients' and all of your alarm codes and all of these things. You have to remember one password and everything else is encrypted. And then one person that you trust, it might be your spouse or it might be your next of kin or your parents or maybe a child. There's got to be somebody that you trust that has that password. In the event that you have a heart attack and you're incapacitated and you're in the hospital, let's say the emergency room, and you have tubes hooked up to you and you can't make phone calls, who is that person that can jump in and start calling your clients and calling your Airbnb accounts saying, hey, listen, something happened and the house cleaner will not be there on schedule, right? So you want to make sure that there's one person that has access to all that information in the event that something happens to you. You just don't want to fall off the face of the map and then nobody knows who to contact or what to say or what your appointments are or any of those things. There are softwares now that you can have. It's called software as a service, where you can log in your account information for clients. And there's a schedule. So somebody could log in with your password from your keeper. They could log in and they could access your schedule and say, oh no, she's got 14 appointments this week she's not going to be able to make. And they could hurry and make calls to those 14 people to reschedule your appointments and or let people know, just heads up, that you didn't show. If you don't show up for 14 appointments all of a sudden, it's possible those 14 accounts could drop you. You're out in the hospital for, let's say, a week and a half. When you come back and you're fully recovered, you've got 14 accounts that have just dropped off because they never heard from you. So it is important to safeguard your business with some kind of software or app so that in the event that something happens to you, you do have your bases covered. If something happens to you while you're cleaning an Airbnb, who calls who for help? That's a great question, and it's one that we need to stop and think about because many of us house cleaners work alone. Now, what triggered it for me was I was in the restroom at an airport, and I found someone's very expensive cell phone sitting in the toilet area in the stall. And I didn't know who to call for help because there was no contact information on the phone. And it triggered an idea in my mind that sure enough, I didn't have any contact information on my phone either. So what I did is I went home and I created a screensaver that was a plain screensaver that had a picture of my face. Then it had my birthday and my blood type and my next of kin and a phone number for the next of kin, and it's okay to take me to the emergency room in case that I have a heart attack or something on the job, right? All that information very quickly and concisely with my picture. Now, if someone were to find my phone and they could only access that one screen, here's the information they have. They match the picture with the person that's there. Oh yes, this cell phone belongs to them. This is their name. This is their birthday. This is their blood type. Now, the reason I put the blood type is because if you have to take someone to the emergency room very quickly, you're going to want them to have as much information as possible. Is it okay to take you to the emergency room? If it's right there on the phone, it's okay to ER. Then they say, oh yes, it's okay. I can call the emergency room. Who else are they going to call? They're going to call the next of kin that's right there on your phone with the phone number. If your phone should go missing, who do they call? They call the next of kin and say they can't call you because they have your phone, right? But they could call the next of kin and say, hey, I have Angela's cell phone. And that person could say, oh, hey, I'll come pick it up. You see how that works? There are ways that you can safeguard your situation. So in the event that you do have a heart attack or you fall into a coma or you pass out from fumes or some unknown thing that could possibly happen, it's okay if someone finds you to call for help. They know who you are and then they know who to call. So those are just a couple of precautionary things that you can do. And then one other thing, if by any chance you're traveling internationally and you leave your cell phone in the airport somewhere, someone can make sure your phone gets back to you. All right, just a couple of ideas. All right, I hope this helps a little bit. If it does, please pass it on to a friend. And until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.